What is happening, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to go over a little bit about Photoshop here, and we're going to learn clone stamping tool, and we're going to learn the healing brush, and we're going to make this photo a little bit more appealing, getting rid of some of that gross trash on the ground and, make it spruce it up a little bit. So here we go. First thing, if this is your first time coming into Photoshop here, let me explain a little bit about the layout of Photoshop. Let's start over on the left-hand side over here. This little area is called the toolbox. This is where all your tools are. You can click on these little arrows and go ahead and change things up depending on how you want it to look. It's all good. These are your tools. These are what you can use throughout Photoshop. Across the top, let's move up here to the top right underneath the menu bar. This is how we can control those tools. So you'll notice that when I have my move tool on, it tells me what I can do with my move tool. And when I start changing tools, it tells me what I can do with those tools. Just like you have a hammer, you can pound in a nail or you can take out a nail. So that's kind of what it's telling you here. You got your tools and how you can use them. Come on over here to the right hand side. We've got all these other little palettes. These things here tell us what we're looking at and what we can do. So we can change colors, we can move that thing around here. We've got adjustments that we can adjust our layers on. And then our layers, if you think about this as like a book, this is where your pages in that book live. These are kind of your basic overall appearances of Photoshop. Right here in the center, this is our image. If you were to approach this as like a traditional desk or table or something, this is your paper. This is what you have laying in front of you. So this is your sketchbook or your palette. So this is what we have in front. Let's go ahead and start making stuff. So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to make a duplicate of this layer by just bringing it down to the bottom. And right next to the trash can down there is a little page turn. If we do that, we can get a background copy. If I wanted to change the text, I can go ahead and double click it and go ahead and just change things. So maybe I want to get rid of background copy and do, number 2. So whatever, you can go ahead and change that. If I turn off and on the eyes, you can see the adjustments that I've made. So I haven't done anything, so they obviously look the same. Let's jump back over into your toolbox now and let's grab some tools. What we want to grab first is this spot healing brush. We want this top one. If we press and hold on any of these that have a little arrow in the corner, it gives us more options on what we can do with that specific tool. Like I said, if it's like a hammer, and we can pound a nail in or we can take a nail out. So it's just a matter of how we can use those specific tools. And then across the top tells us a little bit more information. So let's grab our spot heal. It's this top one on the front there. We're going to come in and notice that I have this little no sign that happened here. What that tells me is I actually don't have any of my pages selected. So I'm going to come back over into my layers here and I'm going to make sure that I'm selected on this top layer. Notice how it changes to a different color of gray when it's selected. So now when I come back over, ta-da, it's all right there. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to do Command plus on my keyboard and that'll get me a little bit closer here. And I'm just going to scroll down with my mouse. And that'll allow me to quickly find an area that I want to make gone, that I want to clean up. I want to heal. I want to make it look good again. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a right click and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because I don't want it to take up too much. I want it to be almost the size of that particular piece. Just about the same size. I'm going to push the hardness all the way up. And now when I click it, it automatically gets rid of it. So the same thing. Here's a little shortcut for you so you don't have to keep doing right click and finding the right spot. But if you use the brackets on your keyboard, which is underneath the plus and the minus sign, The one underneath the plus makes it bigger. The one underneath the minus makes it smaller. So you can quickly go through this thing, cleaning up a lot of that gross trash in here. We don't want that stuff. That's gross. So have at it, press pause, and come back when you're done. Because I'm gonna just sit here cleaning up all the trash that's on the floor. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more so I can get a little bit closer. If I press spacebar on my keyboard, another little shortcut, it turns to the hand. And if you think about this, this is like I've zoomed in, so I've taken that piece of paper, or the palette, and I've gotten really close to it while I'm working at my table. And while I'm working really close, I'm just moving my piece of paper or my palette around. So that's all the hand does, is it allows me to move that around as I'm working here. So here we go. We're just cleaning up some of these yucky, gross trash bits. If you know where this mural is at, put your answer in the comments down below. Alright. So I've gotten rid of a lot of that trash. That's looking pretty good. Clean it up a little bit more. You know what, I'm even gonna take off these signs from the wall here. Just get rid of those. Clean that up as well. And there we go. So now I have this clean looking area. I've taken out all the trash that was on the floor here, and I've made it look a lot more interesting or appealing and not so gross. However, during the process, I also got rid of some of the paint stripes that were on the floor here. This is where we're going to start using that clone stamp to bring it in. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to our clone stamp tool here. That guy right there, it's a stamper. We're going to make sure that we're on clone stamp. And I'm going to zoom back in again. Pressing command plus. Get in nice and close to the yellow lines. And what I'm going to do with the clone stamp works in a particular way that when I press Option on my keyboard, it gives me a little like crosshairs. It gives me some crosshairs that tells me, okay. So what I do is I press Option on my keyboard, and I get the information that I want to kind of clone in. I want to make a copy of. So I press Option, and then on my mouse I just click, and now I let go, and I come back over to where I want to cover it in, and I start drawing in the new area. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to press Option, clone stamp it, and bring it on down towards this bottom area. And that allows me to start filling in some of these areas here that we're missing. Do the same thing over on this side. Now, one thing, you can change stuff, right? You can add lines here and there. But here's the thing, is if I clone stamp here, and then I come over to this side, it will eventually run out of space. Notice how it's not clone stamping anymore. So you gotta kind of keep an eye on what you're clone stamping in, just to make sure that it all lines up and that you're happy with it. Okay. I'm gonna add some of this, but I'm not gonna go all the way across. I'm just gonna let's grab from back here. What I'm doing is I don't want to have the same repeating like pattern or texture or anything. So I'm just trying to manipulate my usage of it. So now I have my area. Let me press Command 0 and that'll automatically pull me all the way back out. I'm going to turn off this new layer. Just clicking the eyeball and I can see a before and an after. Here it is, before and after, everything that I've taken out of the photo. And that's looking pretty good. Now for bonus, go ahead and get rid of that car back there. Get rid of that guy there using the clone stamp and the healing tool. You can heal in some of this area back there. Hope you guys learned something, and with this quick little introduction of the clone stamp and the healing brush. Let me know how things are going, and we'll see you on the next one.